Welcome back to Canine's Mind, Leader of the Pack. Today our show is on feral cats, and I have here with me in this segment, I'm so happy to have here Sharon Morden from Feral Cat Rescue.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And your co-op student Amber, and this awesome, cute little guy here that is looking for a home. So Sharon, let's start by talking about Feral Cat Rescue. How did you start this?
Well, Feral Cat Rescue was originally started up in Owen Sound due to a need up there. There was an overpopulation of cats on the riverbank. It's called the Sydenham Riverbank in beautiful downtown Owen Sound.
Yeah.
And people were wanting to try to help, but unfortunately there was a wild animal feeding bylaw that included feral cats in it, which prohibited anybody from feeding these cats. And their thought was that if you don't feed the cats, they will go away. They will starve and go away. So knowing that this just wasn't right, myself and a few other interested people who I met up that way went to the bylaw meetings, and we requested to be exempted from the wild animal feeding bylaw. And we were granted that so that we could start rescuing the cats, helping them, giving them shelters, and monitoring
awesome.
them. And so now we have our own policy, which is listed on our website with the City of Owen Sound, and we report quarterly to the Owen Sound Animal Shelter with regards to that. And that's where it all started, because there was just a huge need in the City of Owen Sound.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine.
So,
I mean, feral cats had to start from somewhere, so somebody let out a stray at some point in time, and then it just escalated.
That's right.
From there, and they turned wild, but they're still cats, and they still need food and shelter, right?
That's right. They are still a domestic animal that is in a situation that it did not choose to be in. You know, it's a result of either human neglect or a situation that it has become into, so they need help.
And that's great that you finally got that distinguished, because, you know, if you look at a wild animal like a raccoon and a feral cat, it's definitely not the same thing, because, like you say, at some point in time, somebody let that cat out. So human neglect caused a feral cat snowballing problem, right?
That's right.
And obviously it snowballed down from Owen Sound now all the way into Orangeville.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, we're now, I mean, as I was visiting Owen Sound a lot, that's how I knew of the situation there. I reside in Shelburne.
Okay.
And of course family in Orangeville, and this is my area.
Yeah.
So we officially, since we officially started Feral Cat Rescue in Owen Sound, we officially now have opened it up to Orangeville and area. So we can service people, help them, answer questions, and offer services here. And we are all volunteers, by the way.
Okay.
Nobody is paid for this. We operate on donations, and every single individual who's with our organization has the best interest of cats in mind, and we all put our own time and effort into this completely.
That's amazing. You're totally 100% not-for-profit.
Completely non-profit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're happy to do that.
That's great, and such a need, because the cat population it's astronomical, right? I mean, it's a huge problem, right?
It is, and there really isn't anything out there to deal with it. Even branches of the FSPCA don't have anything to do with feral cats at this point. So, yeah,
I know. I mean, it's, you know, I spent a lot of time volunteering in different shelters, and you know, going into the cat rooms and looking at cats kept in these little tiny cages, and it's just heartbreaking. And how well, you know, you almost wonder, wouldn't they be better off outside? I know they're domesticated cats. You can't just take them out of a cage and plonk them outside, kind of thing. But how well do feral cats survive outside?
They do survive well if they're given food and shelter and access to water. So those are important things. They can survive quite well. They need to be acclimatized, so you don't want to put somebody out in the middle of winter.
Right.
We've had cats that we've been dealing with been rescued through the midwinter, that now they've recovered from their surgeries, and we're not going to put them back out after being spayed or neutered. We're waiting for better weather. But they do get by well, so we have our bins.
You have your bins, and we're going to get to this in a little bit.
Yeah, and that all helps them to protect. But if they didn't have our bins, they go into little burrows. They go into root systems, anywhere they can, under bridges, in tubes that go underneath, like water exit tubes that are frozen in the winter. Yeah, they go anywhere they can.
Where they can.
Or under porches, you know, sheds.
Okay, so let's talk about exactly what you do.
Okay.
As you know, somebody calls you up and from a farm, for instance, and they've got you know, colony of cats living in their barn. None of them are spayed or neutered. There's possible health concerns that we were talking about with Dr. Julianne in the previous segment. What would somebody do? Call you up, and then what would happen?
Yeah, they would call us up. We fill out a form which is called Request for Assistance or Registration of a Colony. Then we would do a site visit and go and visit the colony, see what's going on there, physically see the setup. Do they have, you know, proper housing or not, and food, and is there a caretaker? And getting the numbers as well. Then we also go and make a plan of action. So we can only book 5 to 7 cats in a trapping. We have to book our appointments ahead with the SPCA and start the trapping. The other part is the funds. The cost of a spay or neuter is $65. And we do ask for the property owner to contribute that our volunteers are putting in the time and the gas, the transport back and forth of the animals. And also by law, they should be having a rabies shot.
Right.
Which is $15 because they're being released back.
Right.
So that's what would happen. We would explain that to the property owner and see if they were on board, and even if they just wanted to do a couple at a time, you know, and again, just hear their concerns. So.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now let's get to this. What is this?
Yes.
And what happens with this?
Well, this is one of our insulated bins, and it is just a Rubbermaid container that is. We have a hole cut in the front, and we have a sonotube actually put into the front there. And what that sonotube does is it breaks the wind. So if we didn't have that hole there, the wind would come right into the bin. Like if we didn't have a tube out.
Right.
And what happens is that it's insulated on the lid as well.
Oh, that's amazing. And all inside?
And all of inside, yeah.
Wow.
And it's bolted on. We use straw in these because the straw does not retain moisture. And it's environmentally friendly, so we can just take it out and come down to the riverbank or on our colonies locally here and just replace straw. And we also have signs on the bin that do tell the individuals or anybody who comes across it that it is a registered colony and it's being maintained.
And so these get placed anywhere where you know that there's a colony, people have called you. People can phone you, obviously, to find out. I mean, you can make this yourself.
You could make it yourself, and actually we're just in the process of putting step-by-step directions onto the website.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's so it's available for anybody. Yeah, very cost-effective. I think it's $20 or so to make one of these, and then your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the cats love it. They're self-sufficient in it.
And then they keep nice and warm for the winter. And you, would you leave food in here or not?
You can. We do prefer to have food in feeding stations because it brings other animals in.
Right.
But we have feeding stations that is preferred.
Okay. And let's talk about this little guy here.
This little guy is one of our rescues from a horse farm with 35 cats, and this is him and his brother are here for adoption, and they're ready, and they're just lovely colorings.
They are
completely
gorgeous.
socialized
and
ready to go. And so if we didn't intervene and find him, he would have a life of a feral cat, which is really no life at all if you were to choose.
Right.
So that's why whenever we go, we save who we can with any possibility of saving.
Of being rehabilitated.
But yeah, he's a sweetie.
He's lovely.
Amber, you're doing a great job with him. He loves you. And we do try to feed them sometimes baby food off your finger, chicken or beef.
So the more they get used to human contact, the easier it is to find them a home, right? And how old is he?
I'd say he's about 3.5 to 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, just guessing. We don't know exactly, but I would guess that's about right.
Okay. And anybody who was interested in adopting him, and you have other kittens, obviously.
Yes.
There's always a need for homes.
Kittens and cats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the adoption procedure?
Yeah, it's we just go over a questionnaire. It's a donation if you like to donate to the rescue, and we really just want them to go to good homes.
Okay, and they will be vaccinated. They're adopted out with.
Yeah, we deworm them and we give them a flea treatment. The vaccinations are something that they are would do with their first exam with the vet. So we don't get into that part of it, but we coach them through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I know there's another little one in the carrier that came here today.
Yeah.
And mom and dad were both feral for this little guy.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were both feral. As a matter of fact, the mom to this one was just spayed yesterday.
Oh.
So.
And then she'll be released back.
She recovers for about a week. Spays are about a week. Male cats are about 2 days. If they're true feral, they will want out sooner. They do get 2 days worth of pain medication with the spay and neuter, so that's wonderful. So.
Okay, that's great. Well, when we come back, we'll be continuing to talk with Sharon about the trap neuter release program, right? And we'll have a trap here to demonstrate, so don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Canine's Mind, Leader of the Pack. Today we're talking about feral cats, and I have here with me Sharon Morden from Feral Cat Rescue and her co-op student Amber. We've been talking in the last segment about feral cats and what you do and how you started this organization and everything. And for a person who doesn't know about your organization, you know, you see a stray cat and you go pick it up and you take it to the shelter. What ideally would happen to a feral cat, so a wild cat, if it was taken to a shelter?
The shelters, most of them do not have the facilities to deal with a feral cat.
Okay.
They can't socialize it, they can't adopt it, they can't barely touch it, so they would euthanize it. So if you bring it in a trap, they have nowhere to go with it that's useful to them, so they euthanize, unfortunately.
So euthanized, okay. And so the importance of having your organization, and I'm sure around the globe there's other feral cat rescue organizations, but your process, so the more that we educate the public that you're out there, especially that you cover such a large area, you go to people. So anybody can call. It doesn't have to be a barn, just even if you know, you're sitting at a local coffee shop and you're noticing there's a colony of cats or a restaurant or whatever, you will go investigate. Explain your whole process from a phone call.
Okay, so if somebody was to call us, they could either, as you said, be a resident from a farm, a coffee shop, anywhere that they notice feral cats, and we would go out to the person's property or to the coffee shop or restaurant or anywhere, oftentimes in back of the restaurants, and investigate and do a site visit. So, and then at that point, explain to them what we can do. Sometimes we help to educate them if they want to trap, because they feed every day, and trapping should be done at the same time that they feed. So you would withhold food before you trap. But we would coach them on how to trap themselves if they're more comfortable with that, or we would be there for them as well. So the services are available to everyone, everywhere.
Okay. So you go in, investigate the situation, make sure it's not an owned cat, obviously.
Exactly. We have to be sure that it isn't an owned cat. We have a situation now where there's 2 cats coming around, and I've made up flyers. So she's going to go door to door and just say, is this your cat, is this your cat? Or we're going to fix them and try to help them out.
Okay. So then the procedure would be that you would either go and lay the traps yourself to trap the cats, to have them spayed and neutered and cared for properly. Is that correct?
Yeah. We would lay the traps ourselves. We always make
Okay.
an appointment with the SPCA a couple of days before,
Okay.
just so we have our appointments ready,
Okay.
that they don't sit in the traps for a very long time,
Right.
and then they're going within days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if they were able to be adopted out,
Yeah.
if you felt that they were more a stray cat as opposed to a feral cat, would they then go up for adoption?
Yep, they would, and it usually takes about 2 weeks for that to come out, because if a cat has been owned and it's become feral because of a way to survive, once it realizes it's safe, it's inside, and I know what this is, then we know this guy was in someone's home at one point, and so then
Okay.
they have a chance. Yeah.
Okay.
And if not, and they're struggling, we usually know within a couple of 3 days they want out, and that's it, and you have to let them out.
Okay.
Or somebody could get hurt too.
Okay.
Right? So
And you would take them back for release. You take them back to the exact same spot
that's
that
right.
you trapped them.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, very important. You shouldn't reintroduce them to somewhere else. It doesn't work well for them.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's the same with all wildlife, right? You
Yeah.
wouldn't trap an injured animal or take an injured animal from one spot and release them back in another spot. So same thing, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Do you lend traps out? Can people do this themselves?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we would
Okay.
just sign the trap out to you. We don't charge a fee for renting or borrowing the traps, as long as we know where they are.
Okay.
And then we just get them back when you're done.
Okay.
And we can coach you or go with the traps too if you want to do that.
Okay. So now what we have here, this is a typical trap that
Yeah.
you would use.
Yeah, this is our
Okay.
cat trap, and
Okay.
I can show you how we
Okay,
set it
great.
up. All right.
That'd be great.
So, so what you want to do is you just lift here and push back there to bring up the flap.
Okay.
The food goes into the back in a small little square dish.
Okay.
And right now it's not set because the plate is down.
Okay.
But when we are setting it, we have to take this little hook here, and it
Right.
rests on this clip.
Okay.
And so when it's resting on the clip, that holds it up. The food is now beyond the plate.
Okay.
And what happens is you do need to have it on level ground. Right now it's really hard to trap with ice and uneven ground with all the snow.
Okay.
So if it's on level ground, sometimes a brush, or even if we'll cover it at the back, it stops them from pawing at the food through the grate.
Okay.
But once they walk in, they can sometimes step over the trap. That's happened many times. Or they can just touch the plate. There, it goes down.
Okay.
I just
so
didn't-
once they walk through here, step on the plate,
Yeah.
that goes down, and then they're
and
trapped.
then they're in. So what
Okay.
happens is at this point, the cat is quite upset. It's running around, and you do always need to, you must cover the trap. So
Okay.
you cover that trap, they can't see anything, and all of
Okay.
a sudden they calm down and they stop, and that's how they should stay, and just leave them be.
Okay, and this is a very important step, I would
Hugely
imagine.
important
Yeah.
step. I've heard of some organizations who encourage people to trap, some humane societies and animal shelters say, oh, just bring the cat in, don't worry about covering. You must cover. It's inhumane not to.
Okay.
So it's so
Well,
important.
I can understand that. I
You
mean,
would think.
You would think, yes.
But also, this is our
Yes.
trap divider, and
Okay.
this is very important as well, because when the cat is inside and it's waiting for recovery, we put the trap divider here, or we kind of scoosh the cat like gently, across to the end. The trap
Okay.
divider goes in, and that
Okay.
allows us now. The cat is at the back.
Okay.
We can change blankets. We can put food in and keep
Okay.
it dry,
And safely and
Yep, and then
Yeah.
they can rest on clean bedding and
Okay.
cover them back up again.
Okay.
And that's how that goes. So it protects us from that kind of thing. And even if the cat we're just changing food, we can just put the trap divider in here, and we're safe and protected.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
That's
very.
awesome. Yeah.
We'd be lost without those little dividers.
Oh my goodness.
I hear
yeah.
a pitchfork can do the same thing, but
Yeah.
I recommend the trap divider.
That's right. That's right. And you obviously have smaller ones for kittens.
Yes,
you
yeah, we
need
have a little
them. Yeah.
kitten one as well, because the kitten will not trip a plate of this size because the weight is just not there.
Okay.
So you need the weight there to trip the plate
Okay.
of the kitten there.
Okay, that's great. And I imagine you're overwhelmed. You must be overwhelmed.
It is getting overwhelmed. The more that people hear about us, the more overwhelmed it is. We're always looking for foster homes, people to help recover,
Right.
things like that. So that just takes the
Oh,
burden off
it
of
must.
just the few that we are. I mean, we are increasing regularly with the group, but But yeah, it's definitely because there's such a need for it. Nobody knows what to do, and everybody's afraid of a feral cat. And you know, they pick up on your sense too. You have like your demeanor, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, like dogs would, right?
Like dogs would. It's to do with your energy and how you present yourself, and it has. I mean, it's the same with all animals, right? They're so susceptible to our energies. So you have to be careful. The rehabilitation process that you do, you have a rehabilitation process, right? Yep. What's involved with that?
Well, with the male cats, it's about 2 days, and they're pretty much good to go. They do have 2 days worth of pain medication after their surgeries. But the females, because it's more of an invasive surgery, we give them at least a week. I like to give them more if they'll take it. But if the cat does not want to be inside, even being it a female after 2 days, if it's showing any signs of stress, you have to let the cat out, because stress can cause all kinds of sicknesses in the animal.
Oh, I can imagine.
So we really have to play it by ear, and they are actually kept in the traps for the 2 days until there's like after surgery, until their second time of receiving medication and pain medication. So. Yeah, so that's about the process, and then they're either released, or we'll just let them sit in the social room and see how they get by. If they just kind of want to hang out and chill and be safe and they're not pawing at the windows, then we know there's a chance for them, and we give them every chance.
Every chance to show the need to be domesticated.
Absolutely.
Or they just want to go back outside.
Absolutely. Yeah. For example, we have a cat that has been in a drawer for months because it's wanting to be outside. But the thing is, it's so cold out that it's been in too long. So now it will be the first one being released into a barn. We do have a barn cat adoption program.
Oh, that's great.
So if somebody wants a barn cat, there's a whole process to that as well. Where so that's out there as well.
And you have lots of volunteers, obviously, because I know you do so much yourself. You're amazing what you do. You totally are. And
it's my passion.
Yeah, I can see that. Yes. So somebody wanting to get involved and volunteer, I know you do so much yourself, and I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
How would they do that?
They would contact us through the website. There's a contact form to volunteer. But we also have an application as well that we fill out after we contact you back from the website. And it asks you what sort of things you like to do, asks about your experience. There's administrative duties, there's fostering, there's feeding cats, there's playing with cats. We're looking for, as I say, foster homes drivers. We need drivers as well. Drivers for your fundraising
for the fundraising program, and people don't forget that, because that's a great price for spay and neutering.
But yeah, and also community hours. The students in the high schools have community hours, and we honor that as well.
Yeah, that's great, as Amber's doing.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming today. And anybody interested in giving this little guy a home, please contact Sharon. And we'll be right back after this.